Can I help you, darling?
Oh, no, honey, if I ever got up there, we'd never get me down. I don't do heels. Yeah, I've been known to walk a country mile to go around a curve. No, you have made it now. Boy, a fine gentleman he is, isn't he? He probably don't even know who I am. Glory be, you probably don't either. Well, some of you do. I've been around for a while, you know. I'm Miss Molly Blue. And I live down in Yale Holler. Excuse me. I live down there in my little critters. Yes, sir, I love them little critters. Especially them little birds. Woo! I'll tell you, that's God's orchestra to the world if you just stop and listen to the birds. Yes, sir. You know, coming up out of the holler a couple of days ago, I heard the angels. Oh, if you just be real quiet right now, you can hear the flutters of the angels. They're here. They're here. I heard them. Yeah. Woo! Glory be! Woo! Yes, sir. Well, you know, I live down there in the holler, but I like to mosey around. Yeah, I like to come up out of that holler and just mosey around. I was up there, come up out of the holler the other day, and I was out for, a while, you know, and looking around. There wasn't a lot to see. You know, there ain't a lot going on out here in the world. And so I thought, well, I'll just head back down to the holler. So I went that way, and I had to go by Ma Jean's house. Now, Ma Jean, she's an old friend of mine. Yeah, in fact, she just died. But I'm going to tell you about Ma Jean before she died. And she had lots of kids. And it's been a week or so ago. It's been a while ago. And because I'm going to tell you about Ma Jean in just a minute. But she had lots of kids, but she still had a son home. And couldn't get rid of him, you know. And so I went past there, you know, and in the holler, you know, everybody offers you something, you know. You come on in and sit for a spell. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Glory be. So she said, come on in, Miss Molly Blue, I got an offer for you. Okay. You don't pass up them offers. No, sir. Well, I said, well, what do you have, Ma Jean? She says, my youngest son. Now, I've been looking for me a fella for a long time. Well, he was sitting out on the porch in a chair, fit back, wasn't touching nothing. It would just fit back. You know, he had his feet wrapped around those front legs of the chair, barefooted. Yeah, I had on a pair of overalls, no shirt. And they weren't fastened up or down very high. He had his arms wrapped around himself. And I took a look at him. I said, well, Ma Jean, what's his name? Ma Jean said, well, that's Rogut. Well, I could tell why they called him Rogut. You know, your imagination didn't have to work overtime. Yeah. And she said, you know, he's my last son, but you can have him. But he ain't no good. Well, what do I want with him? But, you know, it's free. You don't get a lot free well, what's the deal here? She said, well, he only has one eye. I looked, and, sure enough, he had a glass eye. I said, well, what happened to his other eye? She said it got poked out. Well, my curiosity went up just a hair bit. And I said, well, how did his eye get poked out? She said, well, he was a peeping Tom. Somebody poked his eye out. And I was getting a little antsy by then. Wasn't real sure I wanted a lot to do with old Rogut. Well, Ma Jean brought him a plate of food out. It was, I guess, his lunchtime from the looks of him. He probably had lunch quite often. But I watched that old boy eat his lunch. There, his plate set up there, and he was shoveling it in there, that old eyeball was rolling. When he chewed, that one eyeball was rolling. Woo! Now that would give you the heebie-jeebies. Let me tell you. But when I looked down at his feet, I made up my mind I didn't want no Rogut. He had hair all over the tops of his feet. He had more hair on his feet than he did his head. I could have put up with the glass eye, and I could have put up with a lot of other things. But that hair on that feet, whoo! I'll tell you, it just plumb give you the shivers. So I just said, Ma Jean, you just go ahead and keep him. I've been without this long. I guess it ain't gonna hurt me that much longer. So I'm gonna tell you about Ma Jean. Bless her heart. She was up in her 80s. Now don't you start flashing that timer at me, hon. I can't see it anyway. At any rate, Ma Jean was up in her 80s. And she, I used to attend church with her, and, some big funerals. We went to all of them, there's good food there. And, Ma Jean would always look around and say, woo! Can you believe how many people are here? She said, we would have to pass out door prizes and sack lunches to get somebody to come to my funeral like that. She says they won't be no more than a half a dozen. Well, Ma Jean, she up and died. She went on home. And do you know that church was packed plumb full? You know what? Yeah, sack lunches and door prizes. We start all over now. Never know when one of my relatives are going to crop up.